Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into something really practical, I think, and valuable for pretty much everyone. It's about the science and art, maybe, of boosting your English conversation skills.
Yeah, getting better at actually talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might be listening because you want to move past just the basics.
Or maybe feeling a bit stuck.
Yeah.
Like how to jump into those real spontaneous chats.
Or maybe you're just curious about what actually works, the psychology or the cognitive stuff behind getting more fluent. And here's where it gets really interesting, I found. Our deep dive into the sources, it shows that mastering conversation isn't just about knowing words or grammar rules.
Right. It's more of a mix, isn't it? Like strategic practice, understanding, cognitive biases even.
And emotional intelligence too, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And what's fascinating is that the sources we looked at, they offer way more than just language tips. They give these powerful insights into how our brains actually learn and use language. And the social side of conversations, how people interact, and surprisingly, how tiny shifts in how you approach it can make a big difference.
So this deep dive, it's really about pulling out those actionable, research-backed strategies.
Yeah, strategies for real conversational skill, moving you from just, saying English words to actually connecting with people in English.
Okay, so what does this mean for you listening? Well, we're going to explore those basic building blocks of good English conversation.
But looking at why they work.
Right, exactly. And how you can make your practice, really effective. We'll start with the psychology of first impressions in English greetings.
The hello part.
Yeah, how things like, nonverbal cues or your tone of voice can project confidence.
Then we'll get into crafting your personal narrative.
Which is more than just, my name is, right? It's about making your story, sort of, stick. Make it engaging.
Yeah, definitely. And if you think about the bigger picture, getting those first interactions right, that really sets the foundation for building rapport. Then we'll explore navigating daily life. From routine to richness, which is about how describing everyday stuff can actually be a great way to, express more complex ideas and build better sentences.
Which kind of raises a question, doesn't it? How do people who are good communicators handle things when stuff gets unexpected?
Absolutely. That's a great point. So we'll guide you through the details of conversational etiquette in service interactions.
Yeah.
Like ordering coffee.
Right. It's not just the words.
No, it's the unspoken rules, politeness.
Yeah.
How to say no nicely sometimes.
Then we'll look at unlocking personal connection through hobbies and interests.
Which is all about asking good follow-up questions, isn't it?
Yeah, and sharing what you love in a way that really comes alive.
And this brings up another important point. What do you do when communication kind of breaks down? Or you just don't understand?
Good question. So we'll spend some time on the art of clarification, effectively asking for help.
Looking at smart ways to say you're confused without, feeling awkward.
And we'll also cover painting a picture, describing your environment, how to talk about your home or city.
Using those details that make it vivid.
And finally, we'll bring it all together, a strategic speaking synthesis.
Yeah, sort of a framework for continuing to improve on your own.
So wherever you are right now, maybe take a deep breath.
Let's begin this deep dive. Let's get into elevating your English speaking.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning. English greetings. Simple, right. Hello, how are you? But our deep dive into communication research, it shows the way you say them. It carries a lot of weight.
Oh, definitely. It's about making that instant connection, establishing rapport.
Yeah, and sources suggest focusing on natural intonation and open body language. Even if it's online, it signals you're approachable, confident.
And what's really fascinating is how fast the brain picks up on those signals.
Is it?
Yeah, one study we looked at, it indicated listeners judge a speaker's confidence in the first 3 to 5 seconds.
Wow, that fast.
So while just saying hello is okay, saying it with a little upward inflection at the end, it sounds more inviting, almost like you're asking something back.
I see, hello.
Sort of, yeah. And same with how are you, where you put the emphasis maybe on are or you shows you actually want to know.
That's a great point. It moves it beyond just, repeating memorized words. You're understanding the purpose behind them.
Exactly.
Think about how native speakers might say, hi there, or good morning. It's not just politeness. It signals something about the situation, the social context.
Right. And the sources really stress that listening for those little differences, those nuances, and trying to copy them, that's a huge step towards sounding more natural.
Integrating into the flow of conversation.
Indeed. It's less about strict memorization and more about kind of absorbing the patterns. There's research on chunking in language learning.
Chunking.
Yeah, it shows our brains work better when we treat common phrases like, how are you, as one single block of meaning.
Instead of, how are you? 3 separate things.
Exactly. Your brain starts to process it as one unit.
Yeah.
And that makes retrieving it much, much faster.
Okay, that makes sense. So moving past that initial hello, that conversational handshake, let's talk about crafting your personal narrative.
Right. Going beyond just, my name is.
Yeah. It's really about the art of making your introduction stick, making it memorable, and maybe even prompting more conversation. The sources we looked at really emphasize that a good intro often has like a small, unique detail or a little hint of your personality, not just the dry facts.
Totally agree. And there's this fascinating idea from communication psychology, the principle of least effort.
Okay.
Listeners, well, we prefer information that's clear and easy to understand, but also has a little something intriguing, enough to make us want to ask more.
Like a hook.
Exactly. So instead of just, I'm from Spain, maybe something like, I'm from a small town in Spain, actually known for its amazing olive oil.
Right. That gives the listener something specific to latch onto, doesn't it?
That's where the deep dive starts for them.
And studies on how conversations flow, it's turn-taking, they show that a good introduction naturally leads to a question back to the other person.
Creating that back and forth.
Yeah. It's not just about broadcasting information about yourself. It's about creating an opening for them to respond in a meaningful way. You're trying to spark curiosity, not just list facts.
And this ties right into the idea of active linking.
Active linking.
Yeah, where you use something about yourself to kind of bridge over to a possible shared interest, or maybe ask a question to your partner in the conversation.
Okay, give me an example.
Like if you say, I work as a teacher, maybe you immediately fire up with, are you in a field where you also help people learn? Or something like that.
I see. It shows you're not just talking at them, you're looking for that connection.
Precisely. You're engaged.
Great stuff thinking about those connections. Okay, let's shift gears slightly to navigating daily life. From routine to richness.
Right.
This isn't just about practicing verbs like wake up or go to work, is it?
Not at all. The sources show that describing your daily routine is actually a fantastic way to practice more complex sentence structures.
Oh, so?
Using time markers like before, after, then, and even weaving in little personal details or stories that show a bit more about who you are.
Okay.
Yeah, there's research on something called narrative competence in language learning.
Narrative competence. Sounds serious.
Well, it just means the ability to put events in order, tell a coherent story. It's basically fundamental to fluency.
Right, so you can move beyond just single isolated sentences.
Exactly. So instead of just, I wake up at 7, you could maybe add, I wake up at 7 and then I always have a cup of really strong coffee before I even look at my emails.
I see that as detail, flow, personality even.
That builds a little mini story, even about something ordinary.
And our deep dive into the practical side of grammar suggests that connecting actions using words like and then, before, after, while, it lets you practice those trickier sentences naturally.
It trains your brain to think in bigger linguistic chunks.
More complex units.
And what's really interesting is, while just listing things gives the basic info, weaving it together with those transition words, it helps both your speaking fluency and how well the listener understands you.
Creates a mental picture.
Definitely. Think how much better it sounds to hear, after I finish work, I usually go for a quick walk in the park just to clear my head, and then I start thinking about dinner, compared to just, I finish work, I walk, I cook.
Yeah, big difference. Much more engaging. Okay, next up, conversational etiquette in service interactions. Let's take ordering at a cafe or restaurant. Super practical, right?
Very practical. But the sources show it's also this subtle dance of politeness and getting things done efficiently.
It's not just knowing I'd like a tea, please.
No, it's understanding those sort of implied social rules. The linguistics concept of hedging is really important here.
Hedging, like being vague.
Not quite vague, more like softening. Using phrases like, I would like, or can I please have? It makes the request less direct, more polite.
Ah, right. It's a big thing in English-speaking cultures, isn't it? The lightness markers.
Huge.
Yeah.
And studies we saw on cross-cultural communication, they show that very direct commands, even if grammatically perfect, can come across as abrupt, maybe even rude.
That's subtle, but yeah, really powerful. Another thing the sources pointed out is how to respond efficiently. like when they offer choices or ask how you want to pay. Knowing phrases like, "That's all, thank you," or "I'll pay by card," it just signals clarity, confidence.
Yeah, avoids that hesitation that can sometimes, lead to confusion or awkwardness, especially if the place is busy.
So this brings up a good question. How do you manage the pace in that kind of interaction?
Well, the research suggests that clear, concise responses are really valued.
Okay.
So practicing those full, polite phrases like, "Yes, I'd like a large coffee, please," instead of just barking coffee.
Right. Shows you, the language and the social norms.
Exactly. Both competence and understanding.
Okay, now for something a bit more personal. Unlocking personal connection through hobbies and interests.
Ah, the fun stuff.
Yeah. But the sources really stress this isn't just about listing activities like reading or football.
No, it's about using those interests as a launch pad for real connection.
Okay.
This is where you practice asking those really engaging follow-up questions and sharing your own passions in a way that makes the other person want to share too.
Reciprocation.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that sharing personal interests, it actually lights up different parts of the brain for both the speaker and the listener. It builds empathy, finds common ground.
So instead of just, "I like reading."
Yeah, maybe add a layer like, "I like reading, especially historical novels. Have you read anything interesting lately?" See? Statement becomes an invitation.
That's brilliant because it shows you're actually curious about them.
Right.
And our deep dive into how conversations work consistently shows that asking open-ended questions.
The ones you can't just answer yes or no to.
Yeah, those are super powerful for keeping a conversation going. "What kind of music do you like?" is way better than "Do you like music?"
Miles better. And thinking linguistically, talking about hobbies, is perfect for using more descriptive words, right? Adjectives, adverbs. Instead of "I go walking," maybe "I enjoy leisurely walks in the nearby park," especially when the weather is crisp and sunny.
Adds so much richness and lets you stretch your vocabulary naturally.
Exactly.
Okay, but this raises an important point. Sometimes you will need help, right? Or need something explained, especially with complex topics.
Oh, for sure.
So the art of clarification, effectively asking for help. This is crucial for keeping the conversation flowing without feeling totally lost or embarrassed.
Absolutely. And the sources highlight that asking for clarification effectively isn't about admitting you failed. It shows you're actively trying to understand.
Okay.
Phrases like, "I don't quite follow," or "Could you elaborate on that?" They sound much more sophisticated than just "I don't understand."
Right. They signal effort. You're engaged in trying to grasp it.
Yeah. And one interesting thing we found from research into professional communication, asking for specific clarification works much better. Like, "What does that word X mean in this context?" Or "Could you maybe give me an example?"
Rather than a vague, "Can you say that again?"
Exactly, because "say that again" might not help if you didn't understand the words the first time. Being specific shows you've pinpointed where the understanding broke down.
That makes sense. It helps the other person help you better.
Precisely. It also connects to what linguists call repair mechanisms in conversation.
Repair mechanisms.
Yeah, we all miss things or misunderstand. Having a few polite, targeted phrases ready lets you fix it quickly and smoothly. Gets the conversation back on track.
Avoids that awkward silence.
Or the whole discussion getting derailed. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to painting a picture. Describing your environment. Talking about where you live.
Great way to share more about yourself.
Yeah, but maybe more importantly, it's a fantastic workout for using vivid adjectives, creating a real sense of place for the listener.
Totally. And think about how memory works. When you describe your home or city, you're not just listing facts. You're building a mental image for the person listening.
Right.
And the sources strongly suggest using sensory details, what things look like, sound like, maybe even feel like. That makes your description way more engaging, memorable.
So instead of just, "I live in a big city."
Yeah, try something like, "I live in a really bustling, vibrant city, with noisy street cafes and sparkling lights at night."
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's a huge difference. It goes from a flat statement to, a scene.
And the research on narrative engagement, it shows listeners stay focused and feel more connected if they can actually visualize what you're describing.
So think about adding details like, "It's pretty quiet and peaceful where I am, lots of green spaces." Or maybe, "There are always cool events happening like music festivals in the park."
And structurally, describing your environment is perfect for practicing those spatial prepositions.
Like next to, across from, around the corner.
Exactly. It shows precision. It helps the listener mentally map out the space you're talking about. which is just clearer communication, really.
Fantastic. Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Diving into the nuances, from greetings all the way to painting these vivid pictures. So now for our strategic speaking synthesis.
Right. And this isn't just a quick recap.
No. It's a chance to kind of pull together the insights we've been talking about, and for you, the listener, to reflect on how you can actually apply them.
Yeah, because real fluency, what's fascinating here, isn't just about speaking. It's about consciously using these strategies.
Thinking about the why behind the phrases.
Exactly. The intent behind your words.
Yeah.
The connection you're trying to build.
Okay, so let's try a few quick reflections. First one, what's your name? And maybe one interesting fact about where you're from that might surprise someone. Think about that hook.
Good one. Okay, next. What's one small, maybe narrative detail you could add when describing your daily routine that shows something unique about you? Not just the actions, but a little flavor.
Nice. All right. If you are ordering in a busy cafe, what's one phrase you'd use to make sure you're clear and polite, and why did you choose that particular phrase? Think about that hedging.
Okay, now hobbies. How would you use a question about a hobby, not just to ask, but to genuinely invite someone else to share something they're passionate about? That open-ended question idea.
Great. And final one. When you need help understanding something, what's one specific way you can ask for clarification that shows you're engaged and trying, rather than just being confused?
Thinking about those repair mechanisms.
Exactly. Okay, you did it. That was more than just listening, wasn't it?
Definitely. An active exploration.
Yeah, into the deeper mechanics of English conversation. We journeyed through the psychology of greetings, the art of the personal narrative.
The richness in daily routines, the etiquette in cafes, asking for help effectively, all of it. You've actively thought about the why and the how behind really connecting when you speak. And what's fascinating really is that learning to speak English well, or any complex skill, it's a cycle, isn't it? It's recursive. This deep dive, I think, really highlights a key truth. Every single time you consciously try out one of these strategies, even a small one.
You're not just practicing English.
No, you're building a stronger, more adaptable, more confident way of communicating overall. It's a framework.
So what does this all mean for your journey moving forward? Well, don't be afraid to revisit these ideas. Try them out.
Yeah, in your next conversation, even a small experiment.
Try that subtle inflection in your hello. Add that one personal detail to your intro. Ask that open-ended question about hobbies. See what happens. And maybe remember this powerful thought for yourself. Often, the biggest leaps in communication, they come from understanding those subtle things happening just beneath the surface of the words.
The undercurrents.
Exactly. Keep learning, keep speaking, and keep exploring those fascinating depths.
We'll see you for the next deep dive.